Have you ever found yourself asking what's next for me? Maybe you've been chasing dreams and goals, but something still feels off, or you're stuck, feeling frustrated and unsure about your next step. You're not alone. This is something we all face. I wish we didn't have to go through it. It doesn't feel good, but the good news is there's clarity waiting for you. Hey there, dream chasers, budding creators, and rising entrepreneurs. It's me, Lola. You are listening to the Smoking Profit Podcast, where I share inspiration that's actionable to build you up spiritually, creatively, and socially. You're here because you want to get clarity on your purpose and calling. In this episode, we'll break it all down. What purpose and calling mean, how they work together, and what to do if you feel stuck. By the end, I hope you'll have clarity. Actually, scratch that. I pray you'll have clarity and real steps to discover what's next for you. Here's the truth. Purpose and calling are similar, but they're not the same. Here's the difference. Purpose is your why. It's the big picture, the reason you exist. Calling is your how. It's the specific roles and roads, actions, or pathways you take to fulfill your purpose. Now, here's how purpose and calling are connected. Calling is how you live out your purpose in your day-to-day life, through your career, your relationships, your creative pursuits with your family, with your community, with your neighbors, the people around you, locally, or even globally. Think of it this way. Purpose is your destination, while calling is the vehicle that takes you there. The cool thing, you can express your purpose through different callings over time. We'll get more into that. But first, I want to talk about feeling stuck and being unclear about your purpose. Feeling stuck can be frustrating, even overwhelming. Like, I remember a point in my life where nothing seemed to be going right, and that wasn't completely accurate because of how I felt. I just couldn't see a lot of good in my life, even though there was so much good around me. Imagine being in an ocean and the waves are coming in and the waves start picking up, and all of a sudden you find yourself out a little bit further from the shore than you expected, and the waves are just beating you and beating you, and every time you come up and catch your breath, another wave hits you and it pushes you down. That's what I felt like. When you feel stuck, it can feel like that. And sometimes it can feel like you're standing at a crossroads. You're wanting to go somewhere and you just can't. You don't know which way to go. Or worse, you feel like you do make a decision, a choice, and it gets you nowhere. Now, here's the thing. This may sound unreal, but sometimes when you feel those feelings and you feel stuck, you feel overwhelmed, you feel like you're at that crossroads, or you feel like your wheels are spinning but you're not moving, or those waves are beating you down. It might not be because your purpose is unclear. It could be that it's time for you to explore a new road. And exploring that new road can help lead you to deeper levels of your purpose, or lead you to discovering your purpose or a new place in your calling. So what does that mean? It means that sometimes feeling stuck is a sign that something needs to shift, that maybe you need to pray and pivot. It's like your spirit nudging you to pay attention, to realign, and to grow. I felt stuck a few times before. I'm pretty sure I'm going to feel stuck in the future again. But let me tell you a story about one time that I felt stuck, that I felt overwhelmed, that I felt like I was spinning my wheels and going nowhere, and waves were hitting me and I couldn't catch my breath. I was working hard, juggling work and life while trying to create content for myself and for clients. But no matter how much I did, it just felt like I was going in circles and running in place. I started to question if what I was doing was the right thing, because it felt like what I was doing didn't matter. Then one day, I'm feeling completely stuck, empty, no ideas, no spark, no energy, no bubbly life, just really, really defeated. I decided to stop trying to figure it out solo. So I started asking God questions. I didn't want to guess anymore. I wanted answers. Somewhere along the way, I reached in my old notes. And if you know me, you know that I've said before, it's good to revisit your old notebooks, notes, and prayers. But I reached into my old notes and there was something waiting for me. Something that I didn't expect, but it helped to reignite my fire. I had written a note to myself, and this is going to sound pretty strong, but this is usually how my thoughts come out until I go back and I soften them up a little bit. But I said, when you want to quit, consider how worse off the world would be be without your gift. That note hit me hard. It helped me to remember why I started the Smoking Prophet and how God gave my life so much meaning and still does. And how I wanted to help others find their purpose, find their spark. I was doing this, but somewhere along the way, I'd let pressures, expectations, and comparison cloud my focus. Because of that, I wasn't aligned with my purpose anymore. And that was why I felt so stuck. Looking back, I realized a few things. Being stuck wasn't a dead end. It was an invitation to pray and pivot. And once I saw that, it was game over. Now, whether you feel stuck or overwhelmed or just frustrated for the same reason or something different, know that feeling stuck could be your invitation to pause, pray, and pivot so that you have space to reimagine things and find a new road or pathway to explore. Have you ever seen somebody online and felt an irresistible pull? Something that makes you go, wow, when you see them online? Well, you've got that same thing. That's your sweet spot, and it's your ticket to fast tracking your online success. Today, I want to introduce you to the Sweet Spot Wow Finder, a digital guide that unlocks the secrets of your inner power. Discover the hidden gems within yourself and watch your confidence soar as you overcome doubts that hold you back. And guess what? This mini guide packs a punch in just 10 pages. So no overwhelm here. Just interactive illustrations, prompts, and worksheets designed for quick results. Ready to take a leap and prioritize your online success? Visit today's episode description. Look for Sweet Spot Wow Finder and download the guide instantly. Use it to discover and unlock your inner power so you can make your online presence shine brighter than ever before. Up next, we'll talk about how purpose and calling might show up in your life. Purpose and calling are deeply connected. They dance together. They're intertwined. They're companions. Your purpose gives your life a unique meaning, while your calling is the unique way you express yourself. For example, you might feel called to serve others, and in one season, that could look like you teaching. Later, it might shift to you becoming a counselor at a school. Then it could flow into mentoring. The expression changes, but the heart of it, your purpose, stays the same. Here are 4 other examples. Someone with a purpose to bring hope to people who feel lost may have a calling that leads them to become a therapist, to create uplifting content online, and even mentor others through tough seasons. Someone with a purpose to inspire creativity might have a calling that leads them to share do-it-yourself projects on social media, design cool graphics, or even teach their gift in class. Someone else may have a purpose, a burden to care for the environment, and that calling may lead them to start a community garden, to lead and volunteer for cleanup efforts when tragedies and disasters happen, when communities and nations need help, or even innovate eco-friendly products. Someone else listening may have a purpose to minister their faith. Their calling could lead them to serve in a church or on a charity. They could end up writing faith-based content, and through it all, help others find spiritual clarity. Did you find yourself in any of those examples? Someone else may have a purpose to entertain others through sports, art, laughter. Their calling may lead them to play sports front and center, podcasts about sports, become a brand ambassador, a coach, and so much more. Let me ask you a question. Do you notice something here? The purpose never changed in those examples, but the calling changed. You know why the calling changes? It depends on where you are in life and what opportunities come your way. Now, if I were listening to this podcast, the next thing that would come in my mind is a question. What if you don't know your purpose or calling? So let's figure that out, because not knowing your purpose or calling can make you feel like you're going in circles with no direction, can cause you to compare yourself with everyone else, which makes it worse, and even cause jealousy to creep in when others seem ahead. But first, I want to share a cautionary tale from the Bible that shows us how dangerous comparison can be. Then we'll break down unlocking your purpose. In Genesis 4, we meet 2 brothers, Cain and Abel. Cain was a farmer and Abel was a shepherd. They both brought gifts to God. Cain brought crops and Abel brought the best from his flock. If you go back and look at this conversation, it's over in Genesis chapter 4, verses 6 through 7. But it's interesting that the text says that Cain brought crops, but Abel brought like his best. That's a distinction. We're not going to get into that today. I just wanted to bring that up in case you look at this in your own time. But God accepted Abel's gift and not Cain's. This made Cain super angry. God saw Cain's emotions and gave him some advice. This is how the easy to read Bible says it. The Lord asked Cain, "Why are you angry? Why does your face look sad? You know that if you do what is right, I will accept you. But if you don't, sin is ready to attack you. That sin will want to control you, but you must control it." Now, instead of listening, Cain let anger take over and he killed his brother. But it didn't stop there. Cain's jealousy led to a curse. God told Cain that the land he worked would no longer produce crops and that he'd be a restless wanderer. You can find that over in Genesis chapter 4, verses 11 through 12. When I read that, that hit me because I thought, imagine the gift that gave you purpose no longer having meaning. The curse was that he could still work the earth, the land, which is his trade, is what he did and did well. And I can imagine enjoyed it. But it said the land he worked would no longer produce crops. Wow. Okay, let's get back to this. What if Cain listened to God's advice instead of sitting in that anger? Imagine if Cain had prayed, "God, what do you want from me? Can you show me how to give you an offering you'll accept? God, can you help me to do what is right?" That prayer would have been a game changer, even if it was just the last line. "God, can you help me to do what is right?" That's a powerful prayer. God, can you help me to do what is right? But Cain didn't. And his story reminds me, which is why I say this is a cautionary tale, of what happens when we let jealousy or comparison distract us from our own purpose and calling. And here's the one big reason I shared that story. This story helps me see that knowing your purpose can help you avoid comparison. It helps me see that when you know your purpose, you don't have to worry about anyone else. Sure, you might notice others getting ahead. You might notice, I'm thinking about Psalm 37. You might notice people seemingly getting away with stuff that you can't get away with. Psalm 37, do not fret because of those who are evil, or don't fret over evildoers. You might know it in that version. I'm reading the NIV. So do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither. Like green plants, they will soon die away. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. Take delight in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him and he will do this. He will make your righteous reward shine. Your righteousness shine like the dawn. Your vindication like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It only leads to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. A little while, and the wicked will be no more. Though you look for them, they will not be found, but the meek will inherit the land and enjoy peace and prosperity. And I read Psalm 37, verses 1 through 11. I did not even intend to read that, but it dropped on me. I love that this verse opens with addressing our humanity, what we feel when we see something in someone else. When we look at someone else's life, their situation, and it causes us to have an emotion that can lead to evil behavior, anger, jealousy, that kind of stuff, right? I love that it addresses that first and then it pulls us back in and says, trust in the Lord, commit to the Lord, be still before the Lord, refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret. It only leads to evil. I love that it did that. Ooh, I want to soak in that verse for a while. So just to reiterate, the point of me sharing that cautionary tale is to help us see that knowing your purpose can help you avoid comparison. And also that when you know your purpose, you don't have to worry about anyone else. Sure, you might notice what other people are doing. Sure, you might feel jealous at times, as much as people won't admit that it happens. But here's the but. Your purpose can help you refocus and lock in on what matters, which is your path. You know what else is important? Knowing who you are. Have you ever asked, who am I? It's a big question. And when you don't know who you are, a question like that can sometimes make you feel small, especially considering finding the answer isn't always easy. But don't worry and don't try to figure everything out overnight, okay? I think what I'm going to share next can help you out. Now we're going to break down some practical ways to unlock your purpose and calling step by step. If you're unsure about your purpose or calling, remember, don't stress, don't trip. this should help you out. Here are 5 simple steps to discover your purpose and calling. Number 1, pray. Seriously, prayer is an underused spiritual tool and gateway to God. So pray and talk to Him. He's listening. And if you don't know what to pray, how about you start with that Psalm I just read, Psalm 37, verses 1 through 11. You can read the Bible as your means to pray, okay? But my point is just talk to God. Make space for Him. He's listening and wants to communicate with you through your senses. The interesting thing is when we think about God communicating with us, we think about a voice and words. But sometimes God communicates through feelings. He communicates so many different ways. I'm going to add a link into today's episode description with the different ways we can sense God. I would love for you to listen to that episode, okay? Let's keep moving. So number 1, pray, because prayer is very, very underused and an underrated spiritual tool and gateway to God. Number 2, ask yourself questions. I'm going to give you 5 questions to start with. You can find these questions on thesmokingprophet.com too. I'll add a link. So don't worry about trying to write down the questions because they'll be on thesmokingprophet.com. Your strengths are clues to your purpose. What's something people always say you're great at? Time to lean into what you're naturally good at and love doing. What natural talents or gifts do you have? I uncovered my purpose by leaning into what I love. What makes you lose track of time? This next question can help you identify what problems you're called to solve. What do people always ask for your help with at work, school, or wherever you spend lots of time? And the last question, sometimes we overlook what we're good at because it feels easy for us. What feels easy for you but hard for others? All right, so out of the 5 simple steps to discover your purpose and calling, we've done number 1 and number 2. Number 1, pray. Number 2, ask yourself questions. Number 3, look for patterns. What moments make you feel most alive? What moments made you feel like you really, really tapped in and discovered something about yourself? Write them down. Number 4, take action. Try something. Volunteer. Say yes to some new things or say yes to something you've avoided. Sometimes our breakthrough is the lock into saying yes to something we have avoided. Number 5, find a mentor because the right guidance can change your life. Okay, we're about to wrap things up here, but before we go, I just want to give you the Bible's take on purpose. It's the scripture I love over in Colossians chapter 3, verse 3, and it says that you have died and your life, your real life, is hidden with Christ in God. To me, that means that my true life is hidden, and something that is hidden has to be found. And it says that it's hidden with Christ in God. So that tells me next that if I seek God, if I put Him first, then He'll show me who I am and what I'm meant to do. And the best part about that, it says that my real life is hidden. So when I find Him, when I find God, I'll find myself. That is so amazing to me. Cue the tears. Okay, let's keep going. Whew, that thought makes me very happy, and I hope I made sense. Okay, so our time today has come to a close. Let's bring it all together. Life makes way more sense when you know your purpose and calling. It can help you avoid the traps of comparison and live confidently in your lane. Remember, purpose is why you exist, and calling is how your purpose shows up throughout your life. Not sure where to start? Think about an area in your life where you feel tension and pray about it. And remember, if you don't know what to pray, just open up the Bible and start reading. You can even start with Psalm 37 like we did here in this podcast episode. God can help you, okay? I'm Lola with The Smoking Prophet. Until next time, keep that fire inside of you burning bright. And I'll try to keep my fire burning bright too as I unite people to their purpose. Okay? Have the most amazing life. Bye!
Spiritually, creatively, socially. Spiritually, creatively, socially. Do life, do it better, do it better. Do life, do it better, do it better. The Smoking Prophet will inspire and equip you. The Smoking Prophet takes your skills and gifts and mold you. Do life, do it better, do it better. Do life.